This is Marry Me Bill, gay dating advice with Tam
and Tress
on True FM. Before the break, we listed the top 3 fears we hear men say that are holding them back from dating. The fear of rejection, ageism,
for sure,
and the big one, being hurt. The fear of being hurt. So what's our advice? We've got advice, right?
Well, you've got to take risk, but you have to take calculated risks. So that means baby steps.
Right.
And stop the negative head talk.
Mm-hmm. And then we're going to ask you to surround yourself with positive people.
For sure.
So let's start with the risk, taking the baby steps. Easy for us to say, right? We talk to gay men every day, and we use the example of, I saw this great guy at brunch, but I never introduced myself, I never talked to him. And so sometimes I feel like when we're giving them advice for baby steps, it's something that you and I learned at age 16 to approach the cute boy, right?
And I think in the gay community, that's exactly right, Tammy. They didn't have the opportunity to ask the cute boy in the 9th grade out or to flirt. So they haven't learned that yet, that when you see a cute guy, you've got to seize that opportunity. You may never see him again.
You know, there's a couple of things we've talked about in the office before. I know that some men are hesitant to hand out their business card, for example. And
Isn't that odd?
I know. Well, if they're selling you something, you know.
Still odd.
It's in your hand in 30 seconds. But when they're introducing themselves, they're not always comfortable handing out the business card. I mean, I know there's the fear of what if he's a stalker? What if he's going to call me at work? I don't want that. So I've even given the advice to have a calling card. You can have a calling card. You don't have to always have your phone and bump it or share your contact information that way. You can have a calling card with your name and phone number, your name and email address on it to say, hey, here's my name, here's my number, give me a call later.
No question, with cell phones today, it isn't like you have to be afraid of a stalker. He's not coming to your office to hang out. You just need to get your telephone out there. You need to give him your name so that if you see him next week or next month, hey Mike, how you doing? Baby steps, beginning of a relationship. Everyone thinks about a relationship going from hello to marry me.
Right.
But there are a lot of things in the middle that they're missing.
You know, I know that we've coached clients to say, ask the guy for coffee. You and I, we had him on speakerphone.
Right.
And we were coaching him. He had met a cute guy at lunch. They'd exchanged information, and he literally called us that afternoon after the networking lunch and said, what do I do now?
Well, he was frozen, wasn't he? he had gotten his name, he had the information, and then he had to call for step 2.
Yeah.
But just like call the man and say, would you like to have a cup of coffee?
Right.
You're not picking out engagement rings or planning the honeymoon.
Right.
You're going for coffee, for goodness sake.
You know, the other thing we've coached is to say, to be very direct. If you leave it up in the air, it may never happen. But
Well, you're terrific at that.
I'm pretty direct.
Yes.
And I say, ask him, can you join me for coffee Tuesday at 10? Tuesday at 10. Nail it down.
Which Tuesday?
Immediately. Because they'll either say yes or they'll say no. But then
Absolutely. And you know where you stand.
Exactly.
You can move on to the next cute man you see.
Right.
Or you can go find something great to wear for Tuesday coffee.
So no matter what, you've got a Tuesday deadline.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's great advice. Maybe take risk and give yourself a deadline. By Tuesday at 10, I want coffee with someone, and that's enough to ask.
Well, I think you have to practice that. You know, to say dismiss someone because they're not my type without sitting with a cup of coffee. So maybe you need a little practice with not your type before you get to the fabulous one with coffee.
We do call it practice dating, and we coach it a lot. The second thing we talked about in one of the fears is ageism. So we talked about stop that negative head talk, right?
Well, you have to focus on your best self. You have to, if you don't love you, who else is going to love you? You have got to stop the I'm too old, I'm too tall, I'm too fat stuff that goes on in your head. You really need to present yourself in a very positive, very fun, lighthearted way.
Right. It's okay to be who you are right now, but be positive about who you are. And you know, we had the example of last weekend. We had 2 matches that went on that were fantastic.
Yeah.
All 4 men, I think, questioned, am I too old to find love? Both couples won a second date.
That's so sad. Am I too old to find love? You would have to ask that 80-year-old remarrying after they lost their spouse, And at what age do you not
Right.
want love?
So we know we want to stop that negative head talk, absolutely. At the same time, we're going to tell them to surround themselves with positive people, right?
Absolutely.
So give us an example of that.
Well, we all have that ne'er-do-well friend who's going to be negative and who's going to tell us all the reasons we can't.
Right.
Don't call that person. You need to surround yourself with people who love you, people who want the best for you, and people who are going to encourage you.
Right. So let's say you're turning the corner today, that you're facing your fears and you've got a plan. You're going to start dating, or at least ask somebody out for coffee by Tuesday at 10, right? So when I hired a matchmaker, I did not tell a soul. I did not tell my family, did not tell my staff, or even my closest friends. There was one friend far, far away that I could trust, that she always supports me.
Yep.
I mean, who do you advise that they surround themselves with?
We all have that friend, Tammy. Everybody has a friend that they trust their opinion and that wants the best for them. So you know who that friend is. You just need to use it.
Right. So we surround ourselves with positive people. And, you know, I know that if you're listening to the show, you're thinking, well, of course it's easy for these women to say. They're straight allies. They haven't faced what we face. But we face it every day because we're interviewing the men that are looking for love. And what do you say when people say, well, you two are so positive?
Well, I think we do believe in love. I think that we have found our passion in being matchmakers, and we believe in our clients. That's the coaching and hand-holding and feedback. Right. All goes hand in hand to make the next date better. So if you think you're going to show up and everything is going to be perfect, you're in Alice in Wonderland. You're not playing in real life.
So you've done matchmaking for 24 years.
Can you believe it?
Have you ever met one person that you thought could not find love?
No, absolutely not. Some are more of a challenge than others. Some make you question what you're going to do with this person. More often than not, it's because of their attitude. You can talk feedback after the first date, and after 24 years, I can almost predict your success.
Mm-hmm. So we've tackled fears with this show. And so to wrap up, we want to encourage men to turn off the app, the hookup site, and get out there and find your true love in person. We want them to list key qualities. What do you advise men to do?
Well, you said key qualities. You really need to know what you're looking for, the characteristics and qualities important in a man, and go search for him. Screen his heart, screen his mind. Forget about his naked torso for a minute.
We want to thank you for listening with an open mind and an open heart. Next time on Marry Me Bill, we'll talk about Wake Up to Reality.
The man in the mirror.
The man in the mirror. Until then, check out He's For Me Matchmaking. Call or email us through our H4M website. You've been listening to Marry Me Bill, Gay Dating Advice with Tam, only on True FM.